It's a hot July. It's not even July. I don't even know what month it is. It's a hot February 28th, 2022. Around 7:22 p.m. I walk around the streets of La Palma. I'm hungry. I'm not hungry for food. I can always just go to the Burger Street by Walker and Orangethorpe. I'm hungry for truth. I'm hungry for reveals, for secrets around the mystery. I walk through the Brookside Apartments gardens, looking around all the cars. Who lives here? Why can I never find a parking spot here? I walk up the stairs to the stacked plex, go into my room and sit down, put the headphones on. I itch my big rotund belly, pull out some lint. I smell it. Ugh, dusty. I put the lint back in my belly. Finders keepers, I say to myself. I pull in the chair, slap my headphones on, like a pinwheeled hat, like I'm a good American boy. I log on to Discord, and I record. Stacked, episode 73. 73, no, 75. Jesus. Welcome back to Stacked, episode 75, everybody. That's right.
I want everyone to know that every time we record, Ethan does a really dramatic monologue just like that before we get going. He really needs to get into character.
I thought I'd share it this time because it's kind of noir-like. And we're doing noir films today. We're doing a special
Usually he
stack.
slaps himself around a little bit, though.
What?
You usually slap yourself around more, though, when you do it.
Slap myself around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't ask for that to be revealed, but I'm glad you shared that, I guess, even though that was my own information. I never told you to reveal that live on air. But you've done it, so it's out there now. So I just say watch your back. That's my little advice to you, Brandon. Watch your back and be a little nervous that our apartment doesn't have locked doors on our rooms. There's no locks for the doors to our rooms. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, yeah, so welcome back to Stacked episode 75, guys. Five Guys, Burgers, and Fries. Good one. All right. We're doing noir films. This is a big genre episode. You know, we're going over a big old genre. And before we move on, I just realized I had a fan blasting in my face. So I'm going to turn that off before I continue the episode, because it probably sounds horrible as hell. So give me just 1 second, folks. Guys, talk about noir films while I turn this off.
Okay. I'll go first. When I started making my noir film stack, it came to me pretty quickly. I knew I wanted to do a classical noir and then a neo noir, and then what I guess I can call like a pseudo noir. I just wanted to cover all the bases. And my stack is definitely going to get more and more exciting as it goes on. So brace yourself, guys. I think I got some good picks for you. Brandon, what was your process like?
So a lot like you, I was like looking at neo noir and regular noir. I didn't want to do pseudo noir or whatever, but because like I wasn't the biggest fan of it for a while, because frankly I hadn't seen many noirs to like have like a good like feel for what was good. But now that I feel like I have like a better understanding or whatever about what makes good noir, good crime, I feel like I chose 2 good classic ones that I feel like everybody needs to see, and then 1 neo noir. So yeah. Ethan.
Well,
and why are we doing this topic? You know,
that's a good question. Why are we doing this topic? Well, this weekend, finally, The Batman premieres in theaters.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, we have already seen the film, so maybe we'll talk about it in our quick thoughts on the next episode. Maybe we can do it after hours. I don't know. We'll see. But so what I did for mine was I didn't want to pin noir down to just one country. You know, you often think of noir as an American genre because it's a classical Hollywood genre, but I wanted to go out and explore noir through other countries. So I do have one American noir film, but it's not a traditional one. It's a neo-noir film. It's modern. And then I look at noir from the past decade, not the past decade, the past century, from two other countries that I think are pretty cool and it really explore the noir genre. Um, but what is a noir film? You know, that's I feel like sometimes I can't really define noir, but I can tell you what a noir film's when I see it. You know, that's often the case. So I want to know your guys' definition of noir before we go into this episode. Chris, what's your definition of a noir film?
This is a very hard question, honestly, which is kind of weird because usually like genres kind of come like I'm pretty good at defining like what's a sci-fi, what's a western, whatever. But noir is a little bit more vague. I feel like it plays a lot with um I don't it's like there's crime often, there's mystery, mystique, darkness, there are certain tropes that come up a lot, especially when you start jumping yourself into more classical noirs. But especially as neo noirs have come up, like the the genre has really expanded, and the rules of what makes a noir film is kind of vague. So it's a little hard to nail down, but oftentimes it has something to do with crime, darkness, and just like all that kind of stuff. It's really hard. Yeah, this is definitely genre that's much easier to identify than it is to explain. Brandon, you?
Um, I kind of think that when you look at noir, you have to look at it as like a subgenre of crime, and does it have the characteristics of what a noir film is? Is it bathed in shadows? Does it have lingering voiceovers? Do people smoke in the film? Is there a lingering sense of dread that isn't like horrific, like as like a horror film or like even some thrillers will be, but it has to have like some sort of mystery to it. And like I think a lot of those things like fit into that classical noir structure and separate it a little bit from crime. Because if you look today, modern crime films are more, I feel like they're not noir driven, and I don't quite know why that is. Maybe it's because of the way they're shot. Maybe it's because they don't fit into the traditional lens of what a classic noir film is. I don't want to mention one, but I'll give an example later in the podcast for what like a newer noir film would look like. But often it's like more realistic, maybe shot on digital camera with like more movement involved, because like classical noir isn't like that necessarily, but it is like plays with style a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think you nail on the head where like noir is a spin-off of the crime genre. I think there always has to be some sort of crime happening within the world of a noir film, you know? I think there has to be a layer of mystique, mystery, not necessarily us, the viewer, uncovering a mystery. It can be sort of the characters creating a mystery or trying to cover up one, you know? And I think there's also a certain level of like cynicism presented in noir films, sort of a fatalist approach of these characters being trapped in these big bustling cities and having their lives tied to sort of the chaos that happens within them, you know? And having it hard to break free and escape sort of what they get themselves into. So I think all of my films sort of explore that similar through line theme, but all from different countries and different decades too, which I think is really cool. So yeah, that's what I sort of broke down as a noir film. So without further ado, let's actually get to the films themselves. But first, let's go over the rules of the show. Once a week, we set a topic or theme and go our separate ways to construct our own 3-film stack. Then after a week, we come back here on the podcast and share our own stacks one film at a time. Then at the end of the show, we will mix and match our 9 films, make the ultimate decision what quintessential 3-film stack we are checking out this hypothetical video store. Chris, you are up first with your first noir film.
Oh boy. All right. I decided to pick my first noir film kind of conservatively. I just wanted with this first one, I kind of just wanted to exemplify the genre with its most foundational and iconic of pieces. There's a small laundry list of films that fall under this category. I feel like Maltese Falcon, Touch of Evil, Third Man, um, are like these kinds of movies that like really like are like this is the essence of where film noir kind of really got going. But with this one, I chose Double Indemnity by Billy Wilder in 1944. Um, so yeah, despite having seen this film in high school, I also just went with this one because didn't we all watch this movie together during film aesthetics or something or film history?
Joey loves this movie.
I think
Joey
it's
really liked
aesthetics.
this movie. I remember that.
I think
Yeah.
it's aesthetics. Yeah.
Yeah, back when we were a little freshmen, we watched this movie.
Little babies.
So, Double Indemnity tells a story of a rich woman and a calculating insurance agent plotting the perfect murder so that they may claim her husband's double indemnity policy. Yes, this movie's about insurance fraud. Captivating, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's got all the traits that you want like with these kinds of films. The classic genre. It's so iconically specific. Brandon listed out a couple of their traits. Like the mystery-driven structure, the femme fatale, the dark shadows, the stylized lighting, the smooth talking, cigarette smoking, alcohol downing, brass gentleman of a lead. It's all there, and it really does like. This is a film that I think really does like. It like you could probably do a drinking game with this film about how many times a now film noir trope comes up, and you'll probably be blacked out within 10 minutes. I still really enjoy this film. It's very well made and has very much earned its status as a classic piece of noir cinema. Certain elements of the film haven't like has aged, but like I'm kind of surprised at how accessible this movie is, given that like it's now 78 years old, going on 80 soon, and like I could still watch this movie and be fully engaged. So I chose this movie. I felt like I had to get a classic in there, and why not the classic that kind of made me discover film noir in the first place. So yeah, Double Indemnity is my first pick.
Yeah. I was gonna pick this one, but I kind of had a feeling it was gonna show up on this episode, so I stepped away from it. But yeah, this is a really good film that like it gives us a cynical look to both relationships, greed, and just like the ideology of like trying to stay afloat in. This takes place in Los Angeles, right? LA, Hollywood.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's definitely. Yeah, I think it's in LA.
Yeah, just trying to stay afloat in this city, and what I love most is just like it's one of those films where you're just captivated to see if the main character can get away with what they're doing. The scheme, and I can't really go into too much detail just because I haven't seen this film in so long. I haven't seen it since that one day freshman year when we watched it, but I remember just like being so captivated by it because of both I think it's excellent in its cinematography, and I think you can always find some like a really tasty looking film through noir because its use of playing with shadows, which is really good for black and white. It's use of shadow play and the depth of the frame, and or lack thereof when shooting against black and white, which also makes it just as powerful, I feel sometimes. And yeah, I just remember being totally on board with this film when I saw it in freshman year, and I'd love to rewatch it again because they did release it on Criterion? I feel like
maybe they did.
It was that
they did with
it was either that one or Detour. I always mix those two up with Criterion. I don't remember. One of those two just got a physical release, so I might want to check it out again. What do you think, Brandon?
No, very good movie. What most stands out to me in this movie is the ending. So
yes,
sorry if I'm spoiling the ending of this movie, but the guy gets his comeuppance, and it's kind of a moralistic tale in that sense because you kind of learn your lesson as an audience member. Because often, I feel like in film, especially modern film, you kind of like learn to live with the protagonist's actions and consequences, whether or not they're good or bad. And often in classic Hollywood, they give you an answer. Now, that could be like somewhat of a negative thing, but actually here I think it is really interesting to paint a picture of a guy who's like trying to move on with this other woman because he's unhappy with his previous life, and he gets deeper and deeper into this scheme, and it results in him being killed essentially
Yeah.
by one of his friends, or it's assumed that he's killed after that gunshot. I guess it's not explicitly made clear, but still it's a very, very good movie. I think there's a lot of tension here. I think the scripting is really sharp, and Fred McMurray is really good, so great choice.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah. All in agreements here. Um, okay, we're gonna go on to my first pick. I've ordered my stack in chronological order. So I'm gonna go with another 40s noir film, but this comes not from America. It comes from all the way over across the sea, across the pond in Japan. Uh, I'm talking an Akira Kurosawa noir
Oh.
film. I'm talking Drunken Angel, 1948.
Oh.
Um, I know I don't think most of us are, or you two are very versed in Kurosawa's 40s films. I
No.
mean, Brandon's seen
No.
Stray Dog, but I'd highly recommend this one. It's not This one's not one of my favorites, but like saying that a Kurosawa film is like at the bottom of your rankings still means it's still pretty fucking good, you know? Um so I think this movie's awesome. It is about I think a Yakuza member who sort of gets wounded in a gunfight, and he goes to this doctor played by uh Takashi Shimura, one of the greats. And the gangster is Toshiro Mifune, of course. And he goes to this doctor and sort of um he finds out that he has tuberculosis as well as the doctor's healing his wound. So this sort of plays into the fatalism and the cynicism of the life of a gangster, um, of living out in the streets. It's now sort of a race against the clock film because he doesn't have much time left because tuberculosis can't really be, uh, it can't really be cured but treated during this time. Um, and this sort of confronts this gangster with where, what he's been doing with life, where his, what directions he's been taking, and he starts to form a relationship with this doctor, um, and then sort of he gets back into the mix of trouble once his yakuza boss comes back from prison and sort of forces him to come back into the fold where he doesn't really like it. So this is also a very interesting cynical noir film because, of course, it's a post-war Japanese film. You're obviously going to get some sort of sub-narrative of America's sort of imperialism upon the country and how that has affected the people on a small scale. So you start to see that with you see you see these Japanese clubs infested with American soldiers mistreating women and everything, and just always getting in the way of these characters' journeys and travels, both physically and narratively, and it's just very interesting to see noir uh, talked about in a way like that doesn't really depict the U.S. in the greatest light, from another country. I think noir films often do actually depict the U.S. not in the greatest light because it's a film about like how these characters are caught in the system really and they can't escape. So that thus being a commentary on the system itself. But it's cool to see that sort of reinforced from another country during this time. Um, and yeah, I think it's a really cool film. Excellent performances from Shimura and Mifune. Highly recommend you guys check this out. Drunken Angel. Have you guys ever heard of this? Heard of this one?
Not even heard of it. No.
No?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. I remember there were 3 noir films that Kurosawa did that were like recommended to me.
Mm-hmm.
Or 4, but I've seen only like 2 of them. High and Low, Stray Dog, and then Drunken Angel and The Bad Sleep Well, I think are the 4.
Yeah. All of those are great, but I wanted to shout this one out because I think it's like, I think this one's the most noir out of them all. So that's why I wanted to put that on the list.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, Brandon, you want to go into your first one?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick a Hitchcock movie from 1956. It's called The Wrong Man.
The Wrong Man. Okay. Tell us.
So you can probably guess by the title that this film is about a guy who was accused of a crime he did not commit, and I describe it in my very short review because I watched it like last year, I think, that it's like the uncut gems of classic Hollywood. And what I mean by that is throughout the film, like the film starts out relatively normal. You get to know this guy very briefly, but he's a very nice guy played by all around like good actor who plays typecasted good roles, Henry Fonda. And he goes to a bank and he is misidentified as somebody who robbed the bank previously. And as a result, he is like brought in for questioning, and he has nothing to hide or anything, but the person who saw him like still identifies, and the person who saw the bank robbery happen still identifies him as the guy who did it, even though that it was incorrect, and she's like either misinterpreting it and has it through like PTSD that it is him, or she just like needs to see somebody like rot for the crime that was committed against her. So you are like taken through this like horrible few weeks, months of this guy's life as he like his life slowly unravels because of something he was committed or he did not commit, like something that somebody said he did that he did not do. And it's compelling to see how the justice system reacts to it, how his family reacts to it, because they're like, this isn't in character for him, like how law enforcement reacts and how he reacts as a person. And it's a very interesting watch that kind of deconstructs each aspect of like a criminal trial, as well as like how justice is served here in this country. And it's super suspenseful too, because you don't want to see this guy go away. He is like so kind and nice and like genuine, and he's honest, and it just feels wrong. And that's why it's so good. It held you on the edge of your seat to the very end.
Damn.
Sorry, Ethan, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I remember you talked about this for 50s movies, and I remember like being completely on board with this. You know, I'm a sucker for Harry Fonda. Henry Fonda, not Harry. Did I say Harry? I don't know why I said Harry. Henry Fonda.
Pathetic, if you ask me.
I think he's one of the greatest classical Hollywood actors out there, or who lives. Out there. He's still out there. Somewhere.
He's still out there.
I don't know.
Lord,
Maybe.
Henry
I don't
Fonda.
know. But yeah, this sounds really good. It reminds me a lot of maybe The Hunt. Maybe.
Yeah, I would say that's
ways.
a fair comparison.
Yeah, The Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the letterbox backdrop of it, of just all these hands going, "Bwah!" pointing at him.
I feel like that's...
Is that a scene in the movie?
I don't think it is. If it is, it's probably
it's
like
just a bunch of hands pointing from everywhere, pointing at him, like going, "Wah!" But yeah, that's what I say wrong. That's what I got to say about The Wrong Man. Chris, what do you think? Sorry, I interrupted you.
I really liked your pitch of this movie as 1940s? Yeah, 1950s uncut gems. And I think that works really well considering noir film plus uncut gems, like those two feel like they would go hand in hand. You can deal with so much there, and I feel like noir, a lot of what makes noir such an iconic thing is that it's like a crime thriller, and I think having something like something as high octane as an uncut gem style can really make a movie of that nature so much more powerful and so much more like anxiety inducing, which I feel like, I mean, would you not want that in a film like this? You know, I feel like if you're doing a crime film, like it's good to have your audience be a little anxious, which sounds a little weird, but you know what I mean? Like getting your audience like on the edge of their seat really, I think, is a good sign of really doing something good, especially if you're doing a film like this. So, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Picking some good classical noir films for this first round here. Let's see what happens when we go into the second round. Chris, you want to take us in your second film?
All right, Ethan, I'm really glad you brought up talking about international films for this one
Mm-hmm.
because my second one's an international film too. Um, I forgot how good Hong Kong's neo noir films are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so many honorable mentions. Ethan, I know you love Fallen Angels.
Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna choose it, but we already did for 90s movies. So I was
yeah,
like, fuck.
Fallen Angels, Love Battlefield, Bullets Over Summer, Sleepless Town, Infernal Affairs. Brandon, I still can't believe you don't like that movie that much.
It's not that good.
But
I don't like that story. I don't like the American version of the story either. That's what I gotta say.
um, but for my pick, I had to go with one that oddly stuck with me after so many years. And I'll get into all that in a moment. The film I'm picking is Johnny Toe's 2003 PTU. Um,
PTU.
yeah, that's literally just the
PTU.
title, PTU, 3 letters, and that's it. So in Hong Kong, PTU stands for Police Tactical Unit, which is like a specialized unit within the Hong Kong police force trained to deal with more large scale, life threatening emergencies. I guess like in the equivalent of that in US policing is SWAT. Um, so yeah, the film follows a series of encounters a squad of patrolling PTU members have at night, starting with relocating the lost service weapon of one of their sergeants after he was assaulted by a group of triad members. Um, for anyone who doesn't know, triads is just the word for mafia in some foreign countries. Um, so with this film, on top of some really great stylized design on the mean streets of Hong Kong, heart thumping tension, and really well directed action, as well as just a really well done crime mystery film, PTU goes the extra mile and portrays the gray areas of these kinds of bureaucratic forms of justice and the price that they have to pay on our moral and ethical values. Um, it exposes like the complex interrelationship between criminals and police officers. Something that I don't think gets talked about very much is that kind of dichotomy that exists there and that interrelationship they have. It also talks about the hostility among criminals with one another, but most importantly, it also discusses corruption within certain sectors of the police force. Um, Even as someone who still enjoys like a film like Police Story, which I showed you guys on one of our movie nights, which is a very propagandic film. Um, it's refreshing for Hong Kong cinema to have something that leaves questions in our head about authority, crime, and policing, especially considering recent political climates in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like this movie. I think it hits all those nails on the head with the way it approaches noir as well as a great crime film, but also goes the extra mile with doing something a little bit more daring with what it presents to the audience. And like the PTU is also like it's a TV show as well. Like, and those TV shows are very tend to be quite like they do show the dark side of like the justice system and everything, but they are largely pretty like forgiving, shall I say, of like of the police force. But this film at least raises some questions, and I think it does it really well. Yeah, so PTU is my second film.
Yeah. This sounds awesome, dude. I love it when noir films also show the side to those who are supposed to be on the side of the law, but sort of have to either go outside it, or like disobey it, to sort of,
Yeah, you ever seen
uh,
Sicario?
yeah, Sicario. I think that you could call that a noir film. You could
It's like
definitely
a Western noir.
it's like a
little bit of both.
Western, yeah, Western noir. I don't know. It's
But
interesting.
anyway, go on. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but like this gives off vibes of Drunken Angel to me because I mean it's a similar plot where cop loses his gun and has to go find it. Um, just like sort of the gun is such a uh symbolic piece for a cop's power and responsibility. So showcasing plots where that is stripped from them and it's their fault somehow and they have to go on a path sort of to reclaim that and analyze what it means to be a person in this level of authority and responsibility is so fascinating to me. And this sounds like a really cool film. I still haven't seen any Johnny Toe films. I'm dying to see some. But Criterion doesn't have any Johnny Toe films. Who's playing Johnny Toe films? What the fuck? Where can I watch them? You know,
Chris's.
there was only that one, right? We were gonna watch a Johnny Toe film for a movie night once.
Yeah, but it was like on a
It was like
website.
it was like
Crap.
a pirated website, and it was like some random one. Why is this dude so hard to find? I don't get it. What the hell? Anyways, Brand, what do you think?
I think it sounds interesting. I think I agree with you. Whenever you find a noir film that manages to tackle injustices within like a certain area of like a trusted area, like you said, like the police or law enforcement, it's like it's super easy, or not easy, interesting to see that dissected in a way that like shows like how it's not always the most just position to be in despite its like self-righteousness. And I think that's really interesting. Let's see if it is better than Stray Dog. I hope it is. The movie's not that good. I'm saying that to irritate you.
You had to just slide the knife into my side, didn't you? You just had to you had to make that dig, right? You just had
I
to.
did. Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
waiting for you to come over and, you know, end it.
Oh, sure. All right. Well, let's get into my second film here. I'm going with a French noir film from the 60s. Another very high poppin' time for 60s culture in France. Quite a vibe, as they say. No, but seriously, I'm picking, our friend of the show, Aiden, would be proud. He loves him some Jean-Pierre Melville. I'm picking Le Samouraï. All right? One of my favorite noir films, which is, it is about a contract killer. His name is Jeff. Everyone just calls him Jeff. So it's like, my name is Jeff, and I'm just like, all right, I know this is gonna be a good movie. You know, his name is Jeff. Come on.
No.
I already gave that a 5 stars once I heard that line. No, but
that's all you need to hear.
It's all I need to hear, baby. But so this movie starts with Jeff, a contract killer, killing a high prestige individual, and basically the rest of the film is him trying to cover his tracks. And it's very cool because it's not really, I wouldn't say it's like suspenseful in a race against the clock, because Jeff is always such like, he's so level-headed and cool about it that it's just like, it's this nice flowing film about the police trying to catch Jeff, but Jeff covering his tracks, and like he's a master of his craft, but they're always a couple steps behind him, and they're always catching up, and it's just like you're trying to see what's happening. You know, it's a classic little back and forth film, and it's got plenty of influences of 40s noir, you know, and then of course it's brimming with the jazz sort of pop culture of, not pop culture itself, pop space culture of 60s France. And then it's also got, of course, it's called Le Samouraï. Jeff he sort of holds the morals of a samurai warrior throughout this film, so that of course there's some hints of like Japanese ethics and morality within the film of this contract killer. And it is just an incredibly just easy to watch film, just by how mellow and like sleek it is. There's not that much dialogue too when it comes to the character of Jeff. He's very much like a pretty silent protagonist. He doesn't speak all that often, so it's like you're caught into this just great mix of visual storytelling and of this. It's basically a chase noir film of corruption and going back and forth. And there's corruption within the police force, and of the witnesses and everything like that. And I think it's just strung together completely well. And I'm a big fan of Le Samouraï. Have any of you guys seen this film? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No.
Now, you said nya. but it sounded like nya. It sounded like yeah, but you went nya.
So it's like nah and yeah.
Nya.
Are you talking to me?
Nya.
Are
Yeah.
you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. What do you think
It's
about this movie, Brandon? Have you seen it?
I-
No, you haven't.
It's a
What do you think about it?
well-made. Yes, I have seen it.
Oh, so you have. I thought you were saying nya.
No, I'm
You're
saying
saying
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going nya or yeah?
Yeah.
Talk about the movie.
Talk about the movie.
I don't really love this movie. I think it's well made. I think aesthetically it's really cool, and like the character is very cold. But in terms of like the story, like it doesn't really. I don't even remember like what the film was about, until like you started talking about it. So like I think that's like a sign of like how interested I actually was in the movie. I would have to rewatch it to comment on it further, but I did not care for it.
No further comments, Your Honor. No further questions.
Nobody asked you.
What? You gave it 3.5 stars. You're acting like this is like a 2.5-star movie.
Yeah, your point.
Yeah, and what? What about it?
Do you guys want to know Brandon's review for this film? He said, might fuck around, and he made a little figure doing hitting the whoa. He said, become a hitman with a French flag. I've never been much of a
I love
guy,
that.
but this is a pretty cool film. What the fuck? You said this movie's okay, but you call it pretty cool in your review.
That's what I said. I said it was cool. Did I not just say it was cool? I just don't think it's like that very good.
It's still a fun film with a really few great scenes.
It is fun. I don't remember.
Okay.
It's been a while. When was that review written?
Average Noir, 2019.
Okay. 3 years. I've watched like
June
1,000
15th.
films
Fuck,
since then.
it's been 3 years.
3 years
God.
since 2019.
COVID.
COVID wasn't even a
We're in
thing.
round 3 of COVID. Yeah, COVID was still like still
in the womb.
somewhat contained. Yeah, it was still in the womb.
It wasn't even a thing. It was June. It was November 2019 is when it started.
Yeah, and then March was when it hit the fan in the US.
So forgive me if I don't remember the plot of Le Samurai.
A lot happened.
A lot of shit has happened since then. Okay.
A lot of shit has went down between now and then, all right?
Give me a fucking break.
Well,
That's all
you
I got.
give me a fucking break. All right, I'll give you a fucking break. And ask Chris, have you heard anything about this film? No?
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah or yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No.
Nah. Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Nah. Nah.
This is the stupidest bit we've done yet. All right, Brandon, what's your second film?
Started. I'm picking a journalist one this time. I'm picking Sweet Smell of Success.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. No, you're not. Next film. Yeah. No, you're not.
So essentially, this follows a journalist who is like, he has a sister who's like not an entertainer, but he really cares for her, right? And he like is like super protective of her, so he hires this publicist to basically wreck the relationship between his sister and somebody he disapproves of. And the thing is like, it stars Tony Curtis, who is like a comedy star, from the 1950s and 60s. So you don't expect Tony Curtis to be in like a darker sort of noir film. And yes, he occasionally gives levity to the film through like quick, witty comments that you're used to seeing from 50s noir. But he does it in a way that is like kind of ruthless, because he is the guy that is trying to break this up. And he's not like, at first, like you can tell like he doesn't really feel comfortable with it. And throughout the film, that's sort of the theme. But the main character, no, not the main character, but the writer who hires him is very, very dead set on this happening. So his like presence looms over this situation because the guy's influential. He can ruin your career with like a article in the newspaper. However, like, can you give me a second? Sorry, I have a migraine.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, keep
That's
going.
rude.
No, why do you have a
can't say
migraine? Do
that.
you need some water, bud?
I do. I haven't drank
Go
water
get some
today.
water.
Okay.
Let's take a break.
We'll take a little break. Water break. Here, I'm gonna put in some drinking noises. What an unprofessional thing to do. No, he just decided to get a migraine 75 episodes in.
What an amateur.
He thinks just because we've done 75, no one will notice. Sure. I will notice.
Are you just gonna leave all of this in?
Maybe.
Audience, how are you guys doing? Let's do a mental health check.
Hey, mental health check. Is anyone else out here have a migraine listening to Stacked? Do you get migraines listening to us? Maybe. Oh, I thought you were drinking out of a little baby bottle first.
You're muted, Brandon.
Goo.
Oh, I am?
Oh. He's making really funny noises, guys. But all right, we're back. Sweet
Yeah,
smell of success.
I mean, he doesn't want to ruin his career over it, and like, even though it's a newspaper man, he knows people in high places. He can write an article and ruin your career, and that's a heavy presence in the film. Like, often in noir, you have characters at gunpoint or at the whim of law enforcement, but here it's not necessarily like that's the threat that is like kind of hobbling the main character, Tony Curtis. You know, it is this moral conundrum which drives the film, and I find that fascinating. Often that's the best part of noir, is these moral questions that we face.
Well, this movie stars William H. O'Brien, who's he's never been in a bad film I've seen. He plays waiter at 21, uncredited. He's in some good movies: Citizen Kane, The Graduate, Some Like It Hot, To Kill a Mockingbird, Dial M for Murder, The Big Sleep. He's even an ace in the hole. I don't know. This sounds interesting. I love me a good news or reporter story. Brandon and I both have a little experience in dabbling in journalism, so that's always intrigued me. Ace in the Hole, other good noir film. I love the poster. Such a cool looking poster on Letterboxd. God damn.
That's the Criterion cover. I have it.
Ooh,
yeah, that's how I watched it for the first. Yeah, I have it on Blu-ray.
Is it on the shelf?
No, because I don't have the case with me. That's back home. I should ask my dad to send me all the Criterion cases.
No, because then we'll run out of shelf space on that shelf too. No, we need to save that. Chris, what do you think of this movie?
Like, I mean, I don't really have much to add that you guys haven't already. Like, I think this is a really interesting premise. I really like the idea of journalism finding its way into, the conversation about journalism finding its way into a noir film sounds really great. I think that's a big part of why Nightcrawler is such a good movie. I think that, I don't really know much else about this film other than what Brandon mentioned, but it seems really interesting. Also, good poster. I like this poster.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? It's a great poster, the Criterion poster. Brandon has it on
Blu-ray.
The guy
is looming.
He looks at it all the time.
His presence is looming in the background. It's such a good poster.
It's great. I love it. All right, let's get into the final round here. Chris, what is your last film?
All right, so my last film is a film that I think when I pitch it, you guys are going to have a pretty repulsive reaction to. I don't think this is going to be one that you guys are going to be like immediately jumping on board with, but I think give me a chance, take a deep breath, and let me lay my case, because I think this could work.
Okay.
So this movie, alongside many others, now make up a subgenre that has been nicknamed the slacker noir. You have films like Inherent Vice, Pineapple Express, Under the Silver Lake, After Hours, Long Goodbye, Repo Man. I rewatched this movie recently. I'm picking The Big Lebowski for my final film.
Did we didn't choose this for Final Stack?
I don't think we've ever chosen this.
For 90s? Did we do that for 90s?
Did we?
Chris, I'm pretty sure we did
I really
that for
hope
90s.
not.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Shit, did we? Fuck!
Yeah.
I have a whole spiel ready. Did we really? No!
Maybe we didn't. I don't remember. Hold on. I'm nervous. Finding my things.
I'm nervous too.
We
Shit.
did. Chris, I'm sorry. We did. We chose this for a final stack. You know what? That's fine. I don't care. Let's talk about it anyways. We just can't choose it. Let's talk about it anyways.
All right, fine. I will forfeit my pick. You know what? Why don't we-
slap on the wrist, Chris. You disrespect the rules, but let's talk about this movie as a noir film because I wanted to talk about this film as a noir film. I want to hear what you have to say.
So, so I will forfeit this as an entry into Final Stack, but that's fine. I'm really here to talk about it. I don't give a shit if I win. So first of all, let me just say, Ethan, I rewatched this movie recently with Luke for the first time. It was Luke's first time, and I just fell in love with this movie all over again. This movie is one rewatch away from hitting 5-star club. So yeah, I picked this movie. Brandon, I know you're not the biggest fan of this movie, but give me a chance to at least share why this movie is so meaningful to me. So first of all, The Big Lebowski, just from its title, is a spoof on The Big Sleep. And yeah, I mean, Big Lebowski is one of the most quotable films ever made. I'm going to tackle this film from the lens of philosophy. So first of all, The Big Lebowski follows the dude, this guy who lives completely aimlessly, no overarching ambition, no driving motivation, no desire to experience anything. He is just a pot-smoking, white Russian drinking wanderer whose only goal in life is to maintain tranquility and relaxed composure in the company of his friends and his love for bowling. In this weird kind of way, he lives in this kind of his own manifested nirvana. Like, he has found such a peace with himself and his routine, and that's his reality. That's the reality he wants to live in. Now, okay, cool. This guy is quirky, drops hilarious one-liners all live long day. What's the big deal? This movie on its fundamental level may initially appear to be really inconsequential, uninspired, and frankly bizarre, which it is. It's a very bizarre movie. But the way I see it, this movie is about a lot more than that. And I think I can get into that, first of all, by talking about Sam Elliott's character as the stranger. He plays this kind of omniscient narrator, not really a god, but just this dude who knows stuff. He's a close confidant of the dude. And he's kind of serves as like an inflex point for the audience to glimpse into what makes the dude such a captivating character on a spiritual level. Walter and the dude represent opposite sides of the cultural zeitgeist of 1960s America. The convoluted plot is filled with individuals driven by materialism, aggression, and greed, a virtue that is completely absent within the mind of the dude. None of that means anything to him. This guy only cares about his rug. So in the context of a noir film, the plotting of this film itself is pretty noir-like. There's, you have the femme fatale, you have like this whole like corporate espionage stuff going on with this family drama and everything. But really at the heart of this film is a story about a guy who cares not for the pragmatics of wealth or power structures. He simply wants answers as to why his rug got pissed on. And this film may be just like really, like for many, is very weird and very just like what is this movie? Why does this movie exist? But for me, like, I see this movie as one that like celebrates the monotony of our existence and sees it as a gift or an opportunity to find comfort in the little things that make our short life so meaningful and like not really like out of a pursuit for accomplishment or righteousness, but fulfilled and content. And I don't know, it's a weirdly comforting film too, like especially having watched this in a contemporary setting with all that's going on in our planet. It's strangely nice to see someone learn to just accept things and manage to find their own inner peace with it. And that's the overarching philosophy of The Big Lebowski. Things come our way, a story unfolds, and life goes on, man. the dude abides, if you will. Yeah, and like I don't know, like the noir, like I kind of just wanted to throw this in because, like technically speaking, it might not fit the mold, the traditional mold of what makes a noir film, but it hits the marks enough in its plotting that I think it is still a noir film, but it falls under that kind of new term of slacker noir that a lot of contemporary filmmakers are kind of ran with. Um, and yeah,
Damn.
Ethan, I'm gonna hand it to you. You like
Okay.
this movie more than this Earth?
Yes. So this is one of my favorite films of all time. My third favorite film, I think. Fourth, might be my fourth. I forget. It's that and The Thing. It's tied. This is absolutely a noir film, Chris. I think this tackles everything about noir from another angle. Sort of, it is a cynical film about crime and sort of city life, because it takes place in Los Angeles, a bustling city with crime and mystery. And man, I your analysis just like hit the nail on the head, dude. Sort of uh it's an optimistic nihilist take. I feel like The Big Lebowski is, which I think everyone sort of needs to listen in these times in our life, these complex times. I feel like there is a lot of issues in our lifetime about choosing a side, about picking sides, about playing sides. But the Big Lebowski sort of shows that like um, your life, yeah, it's pretty insignificant and small, depending where you are, and sometimes you just gotta roll with the flow of things, and sometimes you just gotta get your rug back because that completes the flow of your daily of your routine and what gives you inner peace, um we get to see characters of all walks of life, of types in this film, just showing the real underbelly of Los Angeles. You get to see the weird art side, you get to see like those who work in the porn industry and everything. You get to see the music side. You get to see just the side of those at like diners and cafes and old bowling alleys. Something you don't really see in films depicting L.A. I think you had to do is see the porn side and the star, like Hollywood star sign, but you don't see like the people. Like you wouldn't really see films starring Walter, Jeffrey Lebowski, and Donnie. Just those would, if this was any other film, they would be just extras sitting in the background of a bowling alley talking while something else important is happening over there. Which I think is what makes this film so brilliant. It focuses on things you wouldn't honestly focus on, and just shows the total absurdism of being alive and being caught in conflict and navigating conflict. And that's what makes this film so incredible to me, and why I'll always cherish and love this film. But there is one person who loves this film more than me. That's you, Brandon. Just pour your heart out for Big Lebowski, man. Just do it. We're ready for it. We're ready for it. You're ready for the truth now.
I don't like this movie. It's not funny. And it doesn't have to be funny, I guess.
Will not stand. This aggression will not stand, man.
Not stand. You know who said that?
Not my type of humor.
George H.W. Bush. Come on, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
I hate you. I honestly, I'm gonna shock you here. I agree with everything you just said.
Boom.
In terms of making it it's a pseudo noir, you're right. I think it fits all the bills. The crime is pissing on a rug and beating up Jeff Bridges. That's a crime in of itself.
National treasure.
National treasure. But in terms of the film itself, I'm not really a big fan. Just don't think it's funny. I'm not really moved by the themes of it. I can understand how people are. It's not like I'm not understanding of it. It's just not my vibe. Which is weird because it seems like it's everybody else's.
Your opinion, man.
I guess you're kind of right.
Hey, wait. You're kind of right. Well, you know,
That's all right, Brandon. This movie's not for everyone. That's okay.
yeah. You
Oh,
know,
Even
Ethan's
though you
heartbroken.
wish it was.
You wish it were.
I
But
wish it
it's okay.
were.
Ethan,
I
this is
wish
how I feel about you not liking In the Mood for Love that much.
I think it's a good
Oh.
movie. I'm not gonna jerk off to it. I just think it's a good movie. Come on.
Do you think you have to a movie has to be good? Do you have to jerk off to it? That's kind of inappropriate.
No,
It's basically what you just said.
I think you have to do this to it.
Oh my god!
There.
Oh my god!
How did you do that?
I cannot believe you just did that.
You did it on
All right.
command too.
You actually just fucking. Oh my god. All right, well, that's my last pick. The Big Lebowski.
And ending it off on a great note. Let's go into my last pick. I'm also doing an LA film, and I'm also doing actually a film you mentioned earlier, Chris. I'm picking Dan Gilroy's Nightcrawler as
I
my
thought about that.
Oh, I'm glad. I love this
Yeah.
movie.
This movie is phenomenal. I love it more every time I rewatch it. It just gets better and better. Sort of another journalism, film, noir film about Jake Gyllenhaal's character who's just trying to make his way in just LA's industry business. He's just trying to make money, and he figures out the scheme of selling footage of crime scenes, of car accidents, of just any sort of accident or crime, and selling it to news stations and TV stations. And he sort of starts to form this business about it, and the ways in which he goes about creating this business and selling this footage to a certain station. Not typically, not really in the best of morals here. He sort of does some very questionable things. He sort of goes to crimes before they happen. Even though he knows they're gonna happen, he goes to crimes before the police get there. And sometimes he creates a few crimes of himself to film, which sort of just dives into the insanity, the hubris of greed, and how it can affect people, and especially in such a greedy city, which is LA, where somebody's always trying to be somebody. I wrote a paper on this film about the mental violence this film exposes, and how Jake Gyllenhaal, he's a mentally violent person, and how he mentally tortures sort of we get Riz Ahmed's character, who's sort of like his coworker / employee. We get Rene Russo's character, he kind of has to like bombard her and try to get her to make deals with him. Bill Paxton's character, who's also sort of in a similar line of work as him, which he sort of sabotages and everything like that. I just think it is an incredibly twisted film. It's sort of almost on Joker levels to me. It's not quite Joker levels, a twisted, sick and twisted, but I just think it's a very cool film that displays corruption and greed in modern day media, which I think is awesome. Chris, you mentioned this film. Talk about Nightcrawler.
Yeah, this is a great movie. I think it really does what it's going for beautifully. I really like the angle you took on it about like how it discusses kind of like the egotism of, like when people come to LA, like there is something about LA that's kind of seductive, I guess, in that way, where it's kind of like you're selling your soul for power, fame, whatever. I'm guilty of that. I can't pretend like I didn't just fucking move halfway across the planet to LA, but it is definitely a place that I think lends itself really well to this kind of story. There's something about there's something like really like infectious about really wanting to watch like Jake Gyllenhaal just go fucking crazy in this movie. Like he really just lets it out in this film, and like he does some really dark stuff, allows terrible things to happen and profits off them. I think it says a lot about our media, and like how people, people will click on anything that has some shock value, and it's really interesting to see like the moral implications of our contemporary media be distilled onto the shoulders of one person. And yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal plays it great. He has a very talented uh, what's the word? Supporting actors with him. Yeah, this movie's good. I think it talks a lot about stuff that's really important, and then I wish it got more attention at the Oscars. But yeah, Brandon, I know you like this movie, right?
Yeah, this is the one I was sort of referring to in my intro when I was discussing what neo-noir could be, because I feel like it represents this gritty, like, on-the-ground style that is kind of the evolution of noir. Because it is, like, very, very... Despite how, like, on-the-ground and, like, seemingly low budget it is, like, it still feels like it's rough and dirty around the edges. And maybe that's because digital cameras can be picked up by anyone, so anybody can make a movie now. And I mean, that's kind of the thesis of the movie, even though they're not movies, they're news clips. And I honestly find the most compelling thing to be about it is this is a very classic story, like how to get ahead in Hollywood. How do you do that? Well, you do things that aren't moral necessarily, but it's usually attributed to actor stories or something along those lines, something for fame. And this isn't really for fame as much as it is for his own like self importance as a person and his preservation in that field that is so coveted. And like you said, it is a very good evolution of how the American media and how media in general has sort of evolved to be like, you need to be first. That is like, you need to be first, you need to be accurate, and you need to show something that'll get people to click or to tune in. And I think that is kind of the best part about this movie, and it exemplifies all of that. So yeah, good choice.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, Brandon. Let's wrap this up with your last pick. Hit it.
I'm picking a neo-noir. I'm picking David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch.
This is a unique noir film. This is a twisted
it is.
noir.
What the fuck is that?
Talk about a twisted ass fucking noir film. Brandon, tell Chris about fucking Naked Lunch.
I just searched it. If everyone at home listening, if you're on Letterboxd, search up Naked Lunch real quick. I did not expect to see that.
Yeah.
Does anyone? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wait, okay. Tell me about this movie. What is this?
It's a very surrealist.
Is that
film.
Walton Goggins? Wait, no, it's not.
No, it's Peter Weller. That's RoboCop.
That's
dude.
RoboCop.
That is RoboCop. Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially it's a very surrealist picture, sort of metaphorical, as it like follows this 1950s, 1960s-esque like town, but it's not that time, but it like seems like it's that time. I don't know. It's like very unclear within the film that this person is a writer and they're having writer's block. So what do? Well, they're not only a writer, they're a bug, what are the bug people called? My parents just called exterminators.
What are the bug people called? Exterminators.
No, yeah, exterminators.
The bug people.
And he accidentally inhales some of the bug killer.
Okay.
And as such, he starts to have these hallucinations that make it easier for him to write something unique and original that everybody will love and tune in for. And he becomes addicted to this stuff. But you don't really know that. What?
I was going to say, is this meant to be like a metaphor for drugs or something? Because I know some writers.
It's a metaphor for a lot of things.
Yeah. I kind of say it. Yeah, it's like drug addiction and like sex block and like writer's block and like the like communication between like cultures and like how that is like either compromised or benefits from like doing drugs. And it is absolutely a noir film. It does all of the things that I mentioned, except it's not black and white. It's very colorful. There's lots of smoking. There's a jazzy score. it is metaphorical. It's like it was shot. It in some cases, it is like the writing is like pre-code, but the like because it's a Cronenberg film, it is not code at all. You know, you've got no holds bar in terms of the effects that they use to communicate this, and like he thinks he's like an agent. It evolves into him be exposing like an undercover like operation going on, and him being an agent for all these bug people. And it's so cool. Like it's very like narratively, it's not very straightforward in terms of it being like a typical film, but I think it has a lot more underneath its surface that it's saying that is following this noir path that makes it very easily digestible from scene to scene, that makes it a compelling film no matter what you think of the narrative. And it's great.
All right.
That's so cool. I am sold on that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I really like that they're pairing like this like he oh my god. No, I dig that. Yeah, okay. Ethan, go ahead.
Yeah, I watched this film. When did I watch this? February 13th, 2018. So this was during my first year in college. I remember this was during the same time I saw Eraserhead. I knew I wanted to dive into the works of Cronenberg and David Lynch, two very surrealist directors and who play with sort of body horror and absurdism in a really cool way. So I saw this at the Chapman Library and I wanted to watch it, and
it's hard to find.
It's pretty hard to find, and my baby brain went, huh? What? This movie doesn't make any sense when I saw it. So that's why I gave it a 3-star rating on Letterboxd when I saw it for the first time. But like, it's one of those films that really does stick with you. And like, the more you think about it and the more insane shit that it does, like, it just gives me a further appreciation for it. And I think I literally might change my rating, even though I do want to watch it again. It's one of those films where like, you feel the humidity of the film, like the sweatiness, the just like,
oh yeah,
it's one of those films like Stray Dog or like Do the Right Thing, where you just feel like you're sweating gallons watching this movie because of how Cronenberg is just to make this musky, dirty, like fictional city, and just this insane journey that Peter Weller's character goes on of addiction,
self-discovery,
it's very much a self-discovery of sexuality, of espionage, and
it's similar to the arc that Warren Beatty goes through in Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah, I would say. Well, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, pretty on the nose there. And then it just comes to an insane ending where you get to see some really fucked up shit.
We love that.
And we love
Here
that.
At Stacked, we love that.
Yeah, we love that. We love David Cronenberg for showing us fucked up shit. That's why he's a good director. That's why we like him around, you know?
Good guy.
Yeah, I really want to rewatch this film. This movie needs a Criterion release. What the fuck is it doing? What's going on, you know?
I'm saying that. Been saying it.
I want to watch it. The typewriter that turns into a bug. That's all I'm saying. It's kind of gross. He tries to write and like it makes weird, gross crunching noises. It's like, ugh.
You like that, don't you?
Shut up. All right, fellas, we got our movies now. These are the picks. Let's run through them before we get to our final stack, shall we?
All right.
Chris.
My first film is Double Indemnity, followed by PTU, and ending it off with The Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski. All right, my stack is 1948's Drunken Angel, 1967's Le Samurai, and then 2014's Nightcrawler. Brandon?
I had The Wrong Man, Sweet Smell of Success, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
No!
No!
I'm so close to getting your stack correct.
I had Naked Lunch. I thought about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's kind of comedy noir.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's
So-
animated comedy noir. I think it would have been. I think it would have worked. You know, Bob Hoskins,
Mhm.
classic noir
Mhm.
protagonist there. All right. Damn, these are. We got noirs far and wide. We have to narrow it down to just 3. Fuck.
Yeah. Deal with it, bitch.
I'm trying, man. I'm really trying to deal with this, but I don't know. My little heart can take it.
Good.
Fuck. There's so many I want.
Stop
Here,
being so-
I'm gonna list some that I want.
I'm
Here's some
joking.
I'm gonna list.
Okay.
I
Okay.
want Nightcrawler. I want Naked Lunch. I want PTU. I want Double Indemnity. And I want The Sweet Smell of Success. Or The Wrong
Suck.
Man. And I want
You
The Big
just named, like,
Lebowski.
over
And I
half.
want Drunken Angel. And I want The
You can't
Samurai.
pick that one. You can't pick the Big Lebowski.
I list them all. I want these all on. Is there anyone that you guys that really stick out in your head as like a really big one that you want?
I think we need a classic from the 50s or 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
down to like. Yeah, I think we should definitely do that. But like, okay, so if we're
Which
doing that, then
one?
what should our other 2 be in terms of like categories? Neo noir and other noir.
Yeah.
Neo and other.
Okay. Here's my
Ethan,
pitch.
yeah, okay, go ahead.
All right. I say we do Double Indemnity for our classic noir film. Then I think we go for neo noir. I think we go Nightcrawler. And then for our other noir, I want to do Naked Lunch. I want the movie on.
I
this
really like the
so bad.
structure that you have going on,
Yeah.
where it's kind of like they get more like you see like the genre kind of expand from its beginning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Ethan, what were your 3 films again?
It was Drunken Angel, The Samurai, and Nightcrawler.
Okay.
Well, Chris is thinking,
I'm
what do you
not-
think, Brandon?
Yeah.
I like it because it's
I
like
kind of like that. Yeah, I do kind of like that though.
because it's very spread out, you know. Like Double Indemnity is what you think of when you think of noir. Like that's like obviously the first movie we watched that was a noir movie from class, you know, because that was like
Yeah.
genre based. So that feels right. Nightcrawler is just a perfect example of neo noir and modern noir, so that's what I would point to. And then I'm biased for Naked Lunch, but I also feel like it doesn't. There's no other category that it fits aptly into. Like when I first came up with my list, it was one of the first ones I came up with
Yeah.
because of how like distinct it was. Because
Yeah.
it was different from regular noir in a lot of ways that I won't spoil here. Because it is just fun to be shocked going into that
Mhm.
movie. But I think it also is like more of a psychological aspect where the other 2 are more like physical danger.
Yeah. I think Nightcrawler does dabble in some psychological and sort of going into ego and greed, and sort of watching, sort of,
Jake Gyllenhaal's
character's like sort of him started to lose it a bit, lose like his attachment from reality and like morals. But I think
Mhm.
Naked Lunch then takes a next step after that, you know?
I like that progressive growth because if you're watching a marathon and you're going as insane as the characters are, and you're questioning your own moral judgments, I feel like
Mhm.
that's a success. That's
Yeah.
a success in my mind.
What do you think, Chris?
I like this list. I think all these films are really good.
Yeah.
But there's a but coming.
Yeah, I
can
hear.
feel it.
I feel there's a butt coming. Oh, there's
What's
a
the
butt
butt?
coming. I just farted into my mic again.
I'm real like I don't know, because I feel like we have like I think the thing that's tripping me up is like not like because I really do like the stack, but I also in the back of my head I know so many of those other movies are good too. But I guess a lot of those other movies can be saved for other stuff too.
I think they
We
can.
just can't do Big
Yeah.
Lebowski.
PTU. and
PTU, we could
Sweet
do
Smell of Success.
police films. I don't know, even though we're ACAB, but if we ever want to do police movies, I want to check out PTU so bad. Oh my god. Sweet Smell of Success. Use that for journalism movies if we ever do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm satisfied enough.
You're satisfied? Yeah. I'm satisfied too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's run down Stack's official noir film final stack. Chris, you want to kick off this list for us?
Yep. Our first film is Double Indemnity, a Billy Wilder film. Really foundational film for the film noir genre. Yeah, just has all the conventions there. It's the most traditional. It's exactly what you ask for and what you think of when you think film noir. It's the classic. Nothing more than that.
Alrighty. And our second film is Dan Gilroy's 2014 Nightcrawler, a film that really shows the underbelly of the Los Angeles media scene and entertainment and industry and news scene. Exposing a character who goes out and risks his life for greed. He risks his life and his own sanity for greed and recognition. And it goes into just like a cautionary tale of business, the ethics of journalism, of journalistic integrity, especially when it comes to broadcast news, and graphic images. And I just think it is kind of a twisted and insane film that is also just so moody, and cynical and dark, just like any other noir film that we've seen in the classic Hollywood genre. This is our representative for neo-noir, the noir of modern day. That is Nightcrawler. Brandon, say those magic words, baby.
And our last film.
Oh,
nice.
Naked Lunch, a psychological film that dissects the innards of the noir genre by playing with certain genre techniques, as well as reinventing some for the modern age. It's revisionist, it's deep, and it's very, very confusing. And we love that here at Stacked.
We love that. Man. Guys, what an episode. We talked about some great films this episode.
I kind of want to rewatch them all right now.
Hey, let's do this marathon right now. We'll see you later, guys. No. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Stacked, episode 75. We are now 3/4 of 100 episodes.
You guys know what's coming.
Oh, you faithful listeners, y'all know what's coming. Ethan's butt story at episode 100. Oh man.
Yeah, we gotta stop hyping it up now. Yeah, otherwise it's gonna take forever. It's gonna feel like fucking forever until it happens.
Yeah. You're right. It's just we're
all right. This is the last time we're gonna mention it before like maybe 99.
I want to do something before we end the show. I want to see how many what's the time length from this episode to 100. What it has been for episodes of Stacked.
Hours?
No. I'm talking about how far we were in life from episode 0 to 25. How that's gonna translate from 75 to 100. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull up Stacked here.
What our next leap is gonna be.
Yeah. All right.
Do you all wait? We're still recording this, right?
Yeah, this is still in it. This is still in it. Okay, so from episode 1, pandemic movies, when we record that in quarantine, to episode 25, which was sequels better than the original, which was during the era we had Wyatt and Aiden on the podcast. Remember that? That was I feel like that was a big leap from episode 1 to 25. You know, we started this was in November. We started had lots of guests. November of 2019, I believe. No, of 2020. And now from that length, that's going to be how we are on episode 100, which is nuts.
So, when would episode 100 probably record?
Let's see.
Would that be in how many months is that? Like, cuz It's also hard to predict because sometimes we skip and stuff.
5 or 6.
Yeah, we sometimes we
So
skip and sometimes we have after hours episodes. But
August or September.
from
Guess.
it was from June to December was 1 to 25.
So probably, I would say August or September then.
Yeah. And think about...
Dude, I might be in grad school by that time.
You might be in grad school by the time we record the 100th episode. Whoa.
I can't wait to be a person pursuing a master's degree and laughing my ass off on the internet at my friend telling his butt story. That's going to be great.
Oh, and there goes Brandon's clothes, everyone. So we're just going to say goodnight and let's say our famous catchphrase from Stacked. Movie on. And you have to do the rock hand signs when you say that. That's our new catchphrase. All Stack heads are going to... And click right here to see more.